The world outside the airplane window was calm, serene even. Toronto's skyline loomed in the distance, bathed in the golden hues of the late afternoon sun. I glanced at my watch, just a few more minutes until touchdown. Everything seemed perfectly normal. But then, in an instant, the impossible happened. A deafening explosion erupted from beneath the aircraft. The plane lurched violently, throwing passengers against their seats. Oxygen masks dropped from above, flailing wildly as the cabin filled with the panicked screams of terrified travelers. My heart pounded, a sickening realization creeping into my mind. We were going down. Time slowed. The pilot's voice crackled through the intercom, his calm demeanor failing to mask the sheer gravity of the situation. Brace for impact. Brace. 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 The plane shuddered as it plummeted, tilting forward at an angle no aircraft should ever be in. My body pressed hard against the seat as gravity fought against us, my hands gripping the armrests in white-knuckled terror. I could hear prayers, frantic murmurs, desperate pleas for salvation. Someone beside me sobbed uncontrollably. The reality of death was suffocating, undeniable. Then, impact. The force of the crash was like nothing I had ever imagined. The sound of metal screeching against the earth roared through the cabin as we slammed into the runway. Luggage shot through the aisles, striking passengers in their seats. A terrible sensation of weightlessness gripped me as the plane flipped, rolling completely upside down. I heard a gut-wrenching crunch, windows shattering, wings tearing apart, the very structure of the aircraft buckling under the catastrophic force of impact. Fire erupted outside, painting the sky in an eerie orange glow. Smoke filled the cabin, thick and suffocating. The acrid stench of burning fuel burned my throat, my lungs. I coughed violently, gasping for breath as chaos unfolded around me. The world was a blur, faces twisted in horror, hands reaching out, desperate to escape. Then, silence. For a moment, everything stilled. I was alive. Miraculously, impossibly, I had survived the unthinkable. But there was no time to process the shock. Flames licked at the fuselage, smoke thickened, the very air becoming toxic. People scrambled, voices merging into a cacophony of panic. The emergency exits. Get to the exits, someone screamed. I struggled to unbuckle my seatbelt, my fingers trembling so violently that it took several attempts. Around me, passengers were doing the same. Some frozen in terror, others moving with frantic determination. The aircraft was upside down, disorienting, a twisted metal cage trapping us inside. A flight attendant, her face streaked with soot, bellowed instructions. This way. Hurry. I clawed my way toward the exit, crawling over overturned seats and fallen debris. A child sobbed somewhere nearby. A man with blood trickling down his forehead tried to help his elderly mother unbuckle. The heat was unbearable now, the flames inching closer, the metal groaning as the plane succumbed to its wounds. Just as I reached the emergency exit, I looked back, and that's when I saw them. A group of passengers still trapped, their exit blocked by collapsed seats and debris. Their eyes met mine, raw with terror, pleading without words. My pulse pounded in my ears. Every instinct screamed for me to jump, to save myself. But something rooted me in place. A choice. A moment that would define me forever. With strength I didn't know I possessed, I turned back, crawling toward them. The smoke was thick, suffocating, reducing visibility to almost nothing. I felt the searing heat on my skin, the fire hungry, relentless. The aircraft groaned, threatening to collapse at any moment. I reached for a woman trapped beneath a seat, her wide eyes spilling over with tears. Hold on. I shouted over the roar of the flames. I'm getting you out. Adrenaline surged through me as I yanked at the debris, freeing her. Then another, and another. The heat scorched my arms. My lungs burned with every breath, but I couldn't stop. I wouldn't stop. The world outside was a blur of flashing lights, sirens wailing, emergency crews rushing toward the wreckage. And then, just as I helped the last passenger through the exit, the roof of the aircraft gave way. A final explosion rocked the wreckage as the fire consumed what remained of the plane. I stumbled backward, coughing violently, my vision swimming. The cold night air wrapped around me as I collapsed onto the tarmac, my body shaking, lungs heaving. We had survived. Against all odds, we had survived. Tears blurred my vision as I looked around. Passengers embracing, rescue workers rushing forward, sirens wailing into the night. This was a miracle, an undeniable, unexplainable miracle. The news would later call it the impossible escape. Headlines would scream of divine intervention. The fact remained, no one should have survived that crash. And yet, we had. Some would call it luck, others, a coincidence. But deep in my heart, I knew the truth. This was something greater, something beyond our understanding. And as I looked up at the sky, at the stars shimmering beyond the smoke and chaos, I whispered a quiet, trembling prayer. Thank you, for I had stared death in the face, and I had been given a second chance.